these again.
Oh. Alright. Let's show us what's in the box. Top secret.
First one is for Grizz.
Oh.
What?
Hang on. What do we got?
Keep going, man. You're doing good.
Yes!
Dude, you punched the fuck out of
dude.
that, man.
Holy fucking shit!
So good. Yo, Captain Pear.
I didn't know what was going on there.
Man. Fucking got him.
Fucking got him, dude.
Holy shit. Dude, good game. Fucking good game.
Are you ready?
I knew it!
Cap, look at my fish.
Oh, wow.
It's my little bite. Ready? Bitch!
Always steal those kisses from you.
Always have to steal those kisses from you. Always have to steal those kisses from you.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Always have to steal my kisses
From you. Always have to steal my kisses from you. Oh. Alright. Let's show us what's in the box. Top secret.
First one is for Grizz.
Oh.
What?
Hang on. What do we got?
Keep going, man. You're doing good.
Yes!
Dude, you punched the fuck out of that,
dude.
man.
Holy fucking shit.
So good. Yo, Captain Pear.
I didn't know what was going on there.
Man. Fucking got him.
Fucking got him, dude.
Holy shit. Dude, good game. Fucking good game.
Are you ready?
I knew it!
Cap, look at my fish.
Oh, wow.
It's my little bite. Ready? Bitch!
Always steal those kisses from you.
Always have to steal those kisses from you. Always have to steal those kisses from you.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Always have to steal my
Kisses from you. Always have to steal my kisses from you. Oh. Alright. Let's show us what's in the box. Top secret.
First one is for Grizz.
Oh.
What?
Hang on. What do we got?
Keep going, man. You're doing good.
Yes!
Dude, you punched the fuck out of that,
dude.
man.
Holy fucking shit.
So good. Yo, Captain Pear.
I didn't know what was going on there.
Man. Fucking got him.
Fucking got him, dude.
Holy shit. Dude, good game. Fucking good game.
Are you ready?
I knew it!
Cap, look at my fish.
Oh, wow.
It's my little bite. Ready? Bitch!
Always steal those kisses from you.
Always have to steal those kisses from
Yeah.
We're up.
Sukai.
G'day,
G'day, mate.
Sukai.
Hey,
Hell
Sue.
yeah, brother. How's that World of Warcraft going, Sukai?
Say Wordle Warcraft.
World of War. Oh man, imagine that game.
That's a fucking great idea for one of those
great idea.
Wordle clones. You'd literally just make it World of Warcraft theme.
Yeah, it's a great
Ooh,
idea.
dang. Hey, speaking of
World
World
of
of Warcraft things, have you had a crack at that GeoGuessr World of Warcraft?
It's
One
way too
cap?
fucking hard. I can tell you where in the world it is, but I can't
Yeah.
fucking tell you exactly on the map where it is.
Dude, in Classic, I was actually like doing not too bad on it, eh? Not too bad. It's good fun.
I haven't logged onto the Horde tune. Yeah, that's where you're playing the game wrong, mate. There's something wrong with your fucking approach to World of Warcraft.
Yes, I ended up doing some mount runs, Sukai, and having a bit of fun. Fuck, we should. You know what? As of tomorrow, all the mount runs are losing their buff, so we should really go and get that.
What?
I think the drop rates are buffed at the moment.
I thought they were permanently getting buffed.
Are they?
I
Maybe
don't know.
they are.
That's what I thought.
Someone should.
I
look
mean,
that
they'll be
up.
fucking shit now and later anyway, mate. Don't worry too much.
Dude, did you hear the bug with the Drakthea cap? Did you hear about that?
What's that?
For the first 2 hours of Drakthea release, all of the mount drops were 100% chance. So people,
Fuck off.
no kidding, people could literally go and get any fucking mount they wanted from the loot tables.
Wow.
What?
Blizzard had to do a quick patch, and so to make up for them fucking it up, they apparently increased the drop rate of some of those.
Dude,
cards.
surely you roll that back. That's fuck. There's people who literally spent years trying to farm fucking. I think we need to talk about this in the thing.
Yeah.
Do you want to get stuck into it?
Yeah, go on. Go
All
on.
right.
Yeah.
In 3, 2, 1.
Yeah, g'day and welcome to Oceanic Gaming Radio. Thanks for joining us once again for yet another episode of your favorite little podcast from down under that talks about all kinds of freaking video game fun times. My name's Captain Perth, and alongside me is Grizzly Gaming and Pavlo Overface. How we going, fellas? We good?
Oh,
going?
good day, mate. I'm excellent. Pav's
I'm a bit
sick.
carbo. not doing fantastic.
He kissed too many girls on the weekend, I hear, Pav. Is that what happened?
I don't want to talk about it.
I want to hear about it. Okay. Yeah, excellent. Well, so is that your weekend, was it, Pav?
No, yeah, I had a busy one. I can't even remember what happened. Work Christmas party was out with
yes.
Respawn on Friday night. That was a bit of fun. I live commentated our Mario Kart tournament, which was the first time I ever did something like that. That was pretty fun.
You hype casting it, Pav?
Yeah,
Were you
well, I was trying.
And Peach is coming up.
That's it.
It was all,
That's
yeah,
exactly what I did. First time I ever tried something like that. It was a lot of fun. So I might dip my toe in a bit more down the line.
Yeah. Yeah, it's spewing that like RF LAN and stuff isn't around anymore where you can kind of get that entry into casting video games. That was good fun.
Well, Grizz, watch the space.
Yeah?
Something
Dude,
happened.
if you do have any casting opportunities, I love it, mate. Get me into it.
Yeah, well,
Enjoy that.
I will. Anyway,
Wow.
we'll
Okay.
take that chat off the
Off the
airwaves.
podcast. Yeah.
What the fuck? What about me? Hell yeah. Well, that sounds like you've had a fucking ripper, Pavlich.
Yes, it was.
And probably the best part of your weekend was fixing, potentially, whatever fucking issue we've been having with this podcast for the last probably
Yeah, look,
25 plus episodes.
At the time, our current time is 7:08. And usually it's every increment of 8 is when we have a major drop in our recording or in our live. And I'm not hearing anything. So,
Yeah.
Hey.
So look. If guys, seriously, maybe this should be an OGR poll. If you had to troubleshoot a problem like that, what would be the first thing you'd do, Cap? Tell me.
I would call my ISP.
Yes, me too.
Pav decided not to call them for about literally 25 weeks because that's how long we've been
I was
recording this podcast for.
I say I was convinced. Am I still muted? I can't tell.
No, you're not. You're
But I was
coming loud and clear.
was
Trying to defend yourself.
I was convinced it wasn't the ISP. It's happened in multiple houses with multiple modems, with multiple ISPs on separate computers. How could it be? I don't know.
Well, we haven't fully road tested it yet, let's be honest. But it sounds like the Patreon dollars may not have to go towards Pav's PC because we may have fixed the problem. Which
Imagine
is
if
good
we
news.
bought Pav a brand new PC with all
that
of our
would be
thousands and
wild.
thousands of dollars in our Patreon, lol. And for it not to be that, and he just rings up Aussie broadband, and he's like, "See you suckers! I got a new computer."
It is good news for us, though. So hopefully no more dropouts. We appreciate everyone sticking by and
Yep.
being bloody legends during the little dropout period we have.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I think our listener count's been pretty fucking good recently. So, despite variable quality, I can appreciate you guys sticking around. Now, Grizz,
Yes.
weekend, what happened, mate? Talk me through it. Give me the one.
Firstly, Cap, I'm pretty sure I have gaming bipolar disorder because I cannot stick on one video game. I can't
I've
do it.
known this about you for ages, and I have the same problem.
Yeah. So I fucking started playing God of War on the weekend. But you know what? I had this thought process that I reckon someone's going to buy me the new God of War for Christmas because it's on my wish list in my Secret Santa group. So I may cop it. And if I pick that up and I haven't played the previous one, like I'll be slightly gutted. So
who's in your Secret Santa group?
it's all of my immediate family. So rather than buying each person a present,
Yeah.
we just have one person each, and we spend a good amount of spondules on that one person. So everyone gets
Yep.
something like, pretty
Reasonable.
fucking,
Yep.
pretty good.
Yep.
Yeah. Funny story, off topic, but last year my Curdy always sends someone, whoever he gets, on a random goose chase to get their present. He writes like riddles, and he had my wife last year, and he made her build a puzzle, and then underneath the puzzle it had a riddle on the back of the puzzle that was like to get a next clue and everything else. So it's always good fun, mate.
That's
Always
such
good
a
fun.
Curdy thing to do. I love that.
Absolutely.
Oh, brilliant. So you've been playing through God of War.
Yeah. I think I'm about halfway through, Cap. I'm at the quest where you need to go collect the chisel in the ice area, which I'd made it here on my last playthrough, and that's when I stopped. So anything from here forward is new content for me. So pretty excited to try to get through it. But I am also conscious, Cap, that WoW X-Pack drops tomorrow for us, I believe.
Tomorrow. Yeah. So I'm hoping to get a little bit of time here and there. I definitely won't get an awful lot, but my gaming time is a little bit all over the shop at the moment. But I'll try and put in probably like an hour and a bit tomorrow night, and then just hour a bit here, hour a bit there.
Yeah.
See what it's all about.
Sneak it in.
Slowly catch up to you blokes. Probably 3 months later.
Let's talk about you, Cap. You're back at work, mate. First day
I'm
back at work today.
Yeah, back at work, which was a sobering. No, it wasn't too bad. It was. I enjoy my job for the most part. It is work, but it was good. It was good to come back. Now I had to work from home because my boss just got COVID, and I absolutely cannot think of anything worse than having COVID and dealing with a child at all hours of the night. So
yeah.
So I basically said, look, I'm going to work from home probably most of this week. So we'll see what the go is. But yeah, so hopefully he recovers quickly. But yeah, so we'll fucking keep on keeping on. But yeah, so things have been good. Ted's been going really well. I kind of feel like we're at this weird tipping point.
Yes.
Yeah. Like he's still a little bit sooky here and there, but today we were able to just leave him in the carrier, and whilst we were doing jobs and stuff in between things, or Mia was doing jobs, I was working, but and he was just cruising. He was just no worries, and giving lots of smiles and stuff. So that was really cool.
So good, dude.
Yeah. So it feels like we're getting through that newborn phase that is just kind of brutal, but yeah, so we're getting there slowly. That's good. And then he'll probably start teething, and then it'll all go through it again.
Teething does throw an absolute spanner in the works. Now, Cap, any video gamaliing been happening outside of these bits of World of Warcraft? Playing anything at the moment?
Yes, absolutely. Now, before we move forward, we just got a raid from Muzz, and I just want to say, Muzz, bloody love you, appreciate you. Welcome on into the Muzz crew. Now. Yes, I played.
Do you know I've been saying his name wrong forever? It's people call him Muzz.
Yeah.
Did you know that it's terrible, isn't it? Anyway, it's
is it Muzz or a Muzz?
It's Muzz. It's Muzz.
Well, too fucking bad. I call him Muzz.
You look at him, he's like, "It doesn't matter, Grizz," because I was profusely apologizing in his chat the other day because I've known him for like 4 years and I'm still calling him by the incorrect name.
Stick to your guns, mate. That's what my parents always told me. Now, so I have been playing a fair bit of, well, not really, to be quite honest, if I'm completely honest with you. I've been playing games where I can, but I've been playing, I got my my intended World of Warcraft character main, got them geared for Dragonflight because there's this pre XPAC event happening at the moment where you can get a bunch of gear that gets you a reasonable item level, which basically will carry you on into the to the next expansion. So I did that on Saturday, I think, playing a little bit of Pokemon here and there, not enough though to sort of satiate my hunger for that game because that game's been really fun so far. Still, despite the kind of shaky release and
I kind of feel like
graphics.
the people that are left playing it are really happy with it. Like I sent you guys a TikTok the other day, and it's like this dude sitting there playing Pokemon. There's a guy behind him going, "Are you playing that new Pokemon, right? The one with all the bugs and all the glitches and all the crashing, right?" And then he just turns around and goes, "I'm having the best time of my life," or something like, it's just people are just really enjoing it.
Honestly, dude, it's legitimately a fucking good game. Like it's a shame that the graphic fidelity is not quite there. I mean, you posted a tweet in our little group today that had someone running the game at 60 FPS on an emulator, and it looked unbelievable,
it does
dude.
Look nuts, doesn't it?
It looks so like you can also see like how short the distance is for the load, like the dynamic loading is. Grizz, I don't know if you noticed that, but when they're moving around, it's so short. And obviously they can't change that in the game code with the emulator. But I when I saw that, I was just like, God, fucking the Switch, please.
Yeah, it's the Switch, isn't it? 100%.
It's definitely look. Game Freak didn't do a great job at ensuring that game was ready to hit the Switch, but also the Switch is just that it needs. Again, I've said it before, we'll keep saying it. And Helen Honey's going to come in here and going to crack the shits, but regardless.
I'm going to do a massive change of subject, but just while we're still in banter cap, wanted to discuss this really quickly while we've got WoW coming on. You know how I said it was 100% drop chance for Drakthir? It was only on the Shar of Anger and Nalak mounts. Were guaranteed.
Dude, that is so random.
Guaranteed drop chance for Drakthir for 2 hours, mate, till they patched it.
Oh, okay. So for those that don't know what we're talking about off air before we started the episode that in World of Warcraft, the new class/race, when it hit, they could basically farm really, really, really low drop rate mounts at 100% drop chance for certain mounts. Now, I thought it was all mounts based on what Grizz said, and I was like, if that was the case, there are people who have been farming Arthas's mount Invincible for years, for literally fucking years. If that was 100% drop rate for anyone, people would have lost their fucking shit.
Especially considering you can get a Drakthir at 58, so it would only take you like a couple of hours to get to 60 and go get those mounts.
Go and get your free mount. Off you go.
Wide, right? Oh, do you know these ones? Cap, Shar, and Anger. Do you know what they are? Shar of Anger and
they're all
Nalak.
Mr. Pandaria mounts.
Okay. All right.
And I think there was something to do with the patch notes saying that evokers were locked out of certain mop dungeons. So something weird happened with evokers and mop. I don't know what happened, but something weird happened. Yeah. I'd love to know. I'd love to be behind the scenes and know what like weird dev issue happened. But yeah. So but I also played a bit of God of War on Sunday, Grizzo.
Oh yeah.
Really, really liked that game, but there are some gripes I have with it.
Now, Cap, I'll be interested to know: are these gripes present in the last PS4 God of War, or are these new Ragnarok gripes? Do you think?
Yeah, I think in retrospect, yes, but I feel like they could have probably maybe smoothed this out a bit more.
Yeah.
So I think the big issue for me is, well, one thing I've noticed is I'll be there going to do a puzzle, and then your companion's like, "Hey, do this," and you're like, "Shut up, man! I'm trying to figure this out. Are you fucking kidding me? Shut up!" And they like literally tell you the answer of the puzzle within like 5 minutes, and it's quite annoying actually sometimes. So yeah, that's one thing.
Atreus does, because I'm playing God of War, the previous one right now, and he does point at things when you like. He'll say over here and like point at something, but I feel like it's never really. I'd already kind of knew that was there. I felt like so it hasn't spoiled.
Dude,
spoiled
in this,
anything
it
for
can
me.
be quite egregious to the point where like Atreus would be like, "Look, Dad, we can shoot that arrow at that box, and that'll hit the vines, and then that'll cause a fire over there, and then that fire will hit the rope that will then drop that over there, and then we'll open the gate." And it's like, okay, listen here, pal, shut up. I know I'm slow, but I want to figure it out myself, please. So
You're
that's
the God of War, Cap. You're not the fucking
God of puzzles.
That's right.
But yeah. So that's one gripe I've been having on it. The other one is it is very walking simulatory in points.
Yeah.
Quite bad. And it definitely has that feeling that Uncharted had for me, where it just felt like I was going combat walking, combat walking, combat walking, combat walking. And I feel like maybe I still really don't really feel like I've hit the point where the game really opens up. And I'm like 20 odd hours in.
I remember you telling me that you last time I spoke to you, you were like, "Yeah, I think the game's about to open up." I think the game's about to open up.
Yeah,
and I tell you what, that is one thing that I've really enjoyed about the last one, Cap, was how the we don't worry about spoilers. How the lake kind of descends down in the layers. Yeah. I feel like you've got 3 different bits of open worldiness that you can go and explore when that happens. I actually quite liked that, all the side quests and bits and pieces that have happened.
Not to give an awful lot away about it, but it's pretty they kind of give you these little morsels of open world areas along the way, but it kind of just feels like I don't know, it's something about it's good, like, and the implementation of them are nice, and they have decent puzzles in there, but the puzzles tend to be the same kind of go and hit these 3 things to open the chest, freaking move this thing around by hitting your axe and then swing off of it. So they haven't gone too far off the beaten track with that, which I kind of was hoping maybe they'd do more with. I mean, they have some alternative stuff. Again, I don't want to give too much away, but yeah. So I mean, that's one thing that's kind of the puzzles seem a little bit samey. Though they do introduce new things slowly, and maybe I just need to get more through because I mean, I guess it's kind of hard for me at the moment because I don't have an awful lot of time to play games. So I've been having it very piecemeal, and maybe I'm kind of experiencing it in these small pockets rather than how a lot of other people play these games, and they just belt out 6 to 7 hours in a session. Yeah, and then they do it again and again, and all of a sudden they're 40 hours in, whereas I'm like taking ages to get through it at the moment, which is not usually how I play things. But now they've got babies. That's just how it is.
It's a very good time for you to be playing this, Cap, because we do have Game Awards Game of the Year coming up relatively soon. So
yeah,
you're across most of the games, and if you would like to vote in the poll around what you think may be the Game of the Year for the Game Awards, it is still open, and would encourage you to go and do so. But we'll be giving our opinions
later in the
we'll give our opinions a little bit later on that one.
Yeah, and then we'll probably do an actual episode where maybe we kind of talk about our Game of the Years and how it's Elden Ring and how everyone just doesn't want to hear us talk about it any further.
100%.
Yeah. But yeah, so anyways, I've played a little bit of games, but it's been good. So the only other thing, I had something else I wanted to play the other day. Now, what was that? I wanted to give a Plague Tale a crack, but again, my gaming time is just so limited at the moment, so I haven't picked it up. I also wanted to again try Scorn, still haven't given that a crack, but I think it's kind of darting between. Oh, dude, I played Warzone.
Oh yeah, we did play Warzone. Dude, that was so fun, man.
It was actually really good fun. I do wish that the DMZ mode was a little bit more high risk because the DMZ mode, for those who are listening at home, don't really know what we're talking about. Warzone ships with these free modes. One of them's called DMZ. They've got some other shit, and then they've got your classic battle royale stuff. Now, the DMZ mode is kind of like Escape from Tarkov, but it feels a lot more chill, like a lot more chill. So I don't know, to the point where I almost felt like it was impossible to run into players and have a bit of fun.
Well, we played 2 games, Cap, and we didn't see another squad at all. We didn't see a squad. We only saw the NPC players. And
AIs.
On the 3rd game, we're like, right, let's fucking go to an extraction zone and just kind of camp it out for a bit. We're bound to come up against these blokes.
Yeah. And then those guys shredded us.
Yeah. We got fucking worked.
Yeah, and then we played the Battle Royale mode. Did you play that with us?
No, I think I went to bed and left you guys to play.
Dude. So I can't. Oh no, I played the Battle Royale with my brother and a couple of other mates, including Sleepy Scene. And dude, we were getting so chopped, it was insane.
Really?
Like, dropping and it just could not do anything. It was horrific. I was like, what is happening?
Cap, are we
what has
boomers,
happened to
mate,
me?
or what? Are we?
I think we've hit boomerism, like full on boomerism. But the issue with it was I was like, well, where's the skill-based matchmaking? Because this is just no fun. It does not make me want to play this game when I'm versing like 13-year-olds that have way more time than me.
I've seen a bunch of TikToks pop up that apparently, man, like controller aim shits on mouse and keyboard these days.
Do you know what? I actually reckon you might be onto something there, because the amount of people that I saw that in my kill cams that got me, I would argue that my aim was better, but they just seemed to be able to spray me in some weird, ridiculous way, where it was just like they're literally just getting body shots on me, whereas I'm aiming for like the neck head area, and it's just not even worth my time. I just need to spray the middle section, and I think it's honestly just the it might be the controller.
Yeah, really nice. Yeah.
So, but yeah, as Caging Runt said, everyone apart from me in that game is hacking. So hopefully Activision can sort that out ASAP. But we actually had a couple of games last night, and we actually got some reasonable results. So I'm wondering maybe the skill-based matchmaking might be taking a little bit to kick in. I don't know. Maybe it looked at my old KD on the old Warzone when
I've played very little amount of Warzone, Cap, but one of the only wins that I've got in that game in my limited hours was with you, and we were going fucking mental when we got that win.
I think Cody recorded that, didn't he?
Yeah, we got a clip of that somewhere. Maybe we'll post it on the Twitter for the
just for a bit of fun.
Yeah.
God, it was good times. But yeah, anyway, so that was my gaming weekend. Mia and Theo stayed at Grandma's house over the weekend, so I kind of had a couple of days to kind of zen out before I went back into work. So that was really good, and also gave me a bit of time to play video games. So I used it very sparingly. I also went to the pub, which was great.
Wow!
So that was my weekend. It was very nice. Oh, and me and Mia went out to dinner without the baby for the first time since we had the baby on Friday night. That was awesome.
Yeah, had a good date night.
That was so awesome. We went to a restaurant down the road from her mum and dad's. It's a rooftop bar that does like a feed me menu degustation thing. It's like $60 a head, but totally worth it. So good. Get all this different food. I had like half a beer, and like basically we got in there, and Mia's mum and dad were like, "Oh, look, don't come home too soon. Like, just take your time. It's all good. Like, come back at whatever time, 10 o'clock something." Well, okay, no, we'll go out and have a bit of fun. Anyways,
you get thirst, Cap? Just fucking get
mate.
blasted,
Honestly,
or what?
we got there for 6:15, and by 8:30, I'd had half my beer, and I was just like, I'm ready to go to bed. That's honestly my life at the moment.
Yeah,
just constant, just the sleep factor. But yeah, so anyways, that was good fun though. But yeah, so that was my weekend. Anyways, Grizz, we got to stop talking about banter because we got so much shit to talk about. Holy shit!
Yeah, Pav's giving us the fucking hurry up.
Forgot to set my timer, Pav, so you might have to give me a fucking buddy. But anyways, we'll sort that out later. Yeah, anyways, big menu tonight, Grizz. Lots of stuff with the PlayStation, Microsoft kind of, what do you want to call that? The Microsoft PlayStation Battle Royale that's been happening for the last couple of months or more. So we're going to sort of pick out the finer points of what's happened in that recently. Sony's sort of doing some things, good and bad. So we'll talk about that as well. Some interesting stuff happening with Callisto Protocol, actually, which is kind of it seemed worse than maybe what it initially is to begin with, but a couple of things have sort of eventuated that make it seem not too bad. So we'll kind of take you through that. Obviously, we've got the OGR poll, and we've also got the quickfire, as always. But before we go any further, Grizz, just want to say a big thank you to our wonderful Patreons. Again, you guys freaking rock. Every week you're out here, you're dropping dollars. on your boys, and we freaking appreciate it.
Mhm,
All donations will not be going towards Pav's PVC because I'm pretty sure the dropout's probably looking pretty good. Yeah, excellent day.
Yep.
Very good.
I actually think our video quality looks about 100 times better as well.
Yeah, I think. One little phone call. That's what I like to say.
It's good.
Anyways, that's how it is. That's how it is. Pav, we're never going to let you leave this one down. Anyways, but yeah, let's jump straight into it. So, Grizz, PlayStation believes Microsoft wants them to be more like Nintendo.
Yeah. And this is, so just to wrap it up in a bit of a nutshell. So, Microsoft are acquiring Activision Blizzard, right, Cap?
$69 billion, Grizzler.
For $69 billion.
It sounds like a bit of a meme. It's like a figure that like a 14-year-old pulled out as like a big, like $69 billion.
$69 billion. Anyway, PlayStation are really worried, Cap, that basically Microsoft are going to have a monopoly over a lot of things, but mainly the FPS franchise being one of them. They kind of feel like they're going to own all of the best-selling FPS games: Call of Duty, Halo, Gears of War, Doom, Overwatch, and a bunch of others, and they're kind of going to be left as the sad little PlayStation boys that don't have anything left to play on their consoles, Cap.
I find this so hilarious that they'd even say it. But I mean, this is obviously... like, Sony has to say this in this particular instance because Microsoft acquiring Activision is terrible for Sony in so many ways, regardless of whether you're pro or against Microsoft picking them up. I mean, I'm pro it because it just means there'll be more competition, and it also means that I'll hopefully be getting some Blizzard games put on my Game Pass, which I'm all about. But
dude, imagine they put WoW on the fucking Game Pass subscription.
Dude, I can totally see that happening. Like just an extra tier of subscription, and maybe there's a couple of subscription games that you get under that, and it includes World of Warcraft. I reckon that would be sick. Anyways, basically, I think obviously Sony needs to say this, but I just feel like the games that they're pointing out are just... I mean, COD is obviously a known quantity, and there's nothing quite like COD. You might argue Battlefield to some degree, but Battlefield's not Call of Duty. It's that simple. But I mean, Sony obviously they own Bungie. They have heaps of other first party shooters on their platform, and they picked out like Gears of War, which is absolutely not known for its multiplayer aspect. It's basically a single player game for the most part. Halo, which did horrifically poorly in its last iteration as Halo Infinite. A lot of people, the critical acclaim for the online experience for that game was abysmal. And then what was the other ones that they were talking about?
Overwatch and Doom.
Overwatch. I mean, I would argue Overwatch 2 hasn't even been traveling that crash hot. Like,
no, it's kind of been a flash in the pan so far, hasn't it? I haven't seen a lot of it, really.
And then Doom. I mean, Doom's another one. It's just a first-person title. And so when you're calling out shit like that, I kind of just go, well, Sony, like, you've just posted that, your first-person IP that doesn't come to the Xbox, God of War Ragnarok, is one of your fastest-selling IPs of all time. And where else are people going to play that? You fucking idiots, And Horizon, like, this is what I mean. It's just people shit flinging at one another and doing their best to basically kind of just because Anyways, they're doing their best to shit fling.
Another interesting thing here, Cap, is they've got a slight little bit around Microsoft's side. So they're saying that Microsoft claims that Nintendo's differentiated model demonstrates that PlayStation doesn't need Call of Duty to operate effectively. Some are saying that Microsoft's strategy is basically, we want PlayStation to go do their own thing, so then we don't have to compete anymore. But I thought this would be a really interesting point to talk about, Cap, is what is it about Nintendo that separates them from these two other giants? What actually is it about what Nintendo releases that separates them? Because they are not in this console war at all, are they? They've got their own things and bits and pieces that they can basically operate self-sufficiently without worrying about the Activision Blizzard takeover, Microsoft taking over Activision Blizzard, etc.
I just think they've always been marketed as a family console, and they've lent into that so hard forever. But interestingly, I think Microsoft has also sort of come out and said, "Well, hey, Nintendo's not really a family console anymore. I mean, look at Bayonetta and look at this and look at that," which I totally agree with. But I mean, for the most part, let's be honest. Like Nintendo probably aim their games to the 13 plus market, space, which, for the most part, their games tend not to be super, their first party titles anyway tend not to be super kind of, hit with things like sexual themes or anything like that. So I don't know. I think for the most part, the reason Nintendo is different to these guys is because they're kind of oriented themselves in the market as more of a family-friendly console. They have these IPs that they keep on their own terms, on their own platforms, but they've also done things that have been completely and utterly different to all the other major players, right? Like, look at the Switch. I mean, as much as we bemoan the Switch recently, I mean, you can't ignore the fact that it's one of the most successful consoles of all time.
Absolutely, mate. Yeah.
And it's an incredible achievement in terms of handheld device. I mean, yes, it does need probably another iteration, but I just think in general, Nintendo is happy to make those little interesting leaps. I mean, look at the Wii U. Like, that was the first kind of major motion controlled thing. The 3DS had the 3D kind of weird shit going on with the screen. They're always kind of that's I guess that's why they're different. And I don't think Sony will ever do something in that vein.
I also feel, Cap, that they have a plethora, a huge variety of IPs that they've built from the ground up. They've been around for 31 years and they've got some of the biggest franchises in gaming, from Mario, Donkey Kong, Pokemon, Zelda, Metroid, Animal Crossing, Kirby, Star Fox, all of those, that you've seen the iteration all the way from the NES and up. And we're seeing, you have a look, we're going to talk about it later, which is why I wanted to bring it up with you, but you look at the difference between the weekly sales for the new Pokemon against God of War, which is 2 first-party releases, and have a look at the sales for those two, and it's night and day, and we'll get to that down in the quickfire. But I feel like they have such a broad range of these IPs that they can sell on release, and they've built them up from the ground up. And I'm not saying that Sony doesn't have that, because they do, but I don't think they have the plethora, the range that Nintendo has to offer. I
feel like they haven't really. Nintendo's been incredibly good at fostering a lot of different stuff, like you've mentioned, and maybe Sony hasn't gone as hard on it over time, and maybe they've kind of paid for it, because I mean, Crash Bandicoot and Spyro were like huge Sony IPs back when they first released, and now they're elsewhere.
Yeah, where are they? Where are those
They're
IPs? That's crazy, man.
Yeah, they're not purely Sony anymore. So it's kind of like they've kind of let go of their I don't know, they've kind of let go of their major IPs, or some of their major IPs anyway. But I suppose also on top of that, like, I mean, the new Crash did particularly well. So it's not like Crash Bandicoot didn't have the potential to kind of, be in that same kind of realm of, I guess that's another thing with Nintendo, is they have such a big nostalgia factor with all their IPs as well, right? But I mean, so does Crash Bandicoot, so does Spyro. Like, people are going to buy those games because of the nostalgia factor, right? So it's not like, I don't know. I think ultimately it's in Sony's best interest to shit on Xbox's takeover bid as much as possible, because that's just, it's a competitive edge that Xbox would have, absolutely no doubt about that, and they absolutely wouldn't want Xbox to have that, because it's always been the longest, outstanding war is this console war, and the console wars were always Sony versus Xbox. It never included Nintendo, and Nintendo was in the corner doing its own thing and doing a pretty good job of it. So I don't know. I think the fact that they were like, they want us to be more like Nintendo, and it's like, what a really successful gaming company. Oh, God fucking forbid.
Yeah, exactly, mate.
Yeah.
Exactly. And you just can't, mate. I mean, you look at that, and they've built this history over their 31 years or however long it has been creating these games, and you can't go and, well, you know what they could do, Cap? They could go and make a fucking good first-person shooter game, and then all these problems would go away. They could hire a studio and release a first-party, good first-person shooter game that can rival COD, and then these issues would go away.
Do you know what? I kind of feel like COD's in a weird space at the moment, because like every iteration of COD that's come out recently has had such a tumultuous critical acclaim. Warzone 2 has kind of been up and down with people sort of enjoying it. The last, I can't remember, I just can't fucking keep up with all the different names of the CODs. The last COD, whatever the fuck that was, that didn't do particularly well. It was okay. But I feel like if there was ever a time to try and go up against COD and just go all in, it's probably now,
Yeah.
Like, and just try and produce something that's
I reckon
interesting.
people would love a new first-person shooter. Rainbow Six Siege, I feel like did pretty well when that first came out. And that still holds a pretty diehard fan base. And
I think that's the other issue we have, dude. Right? Is Rainbow Six and the Tom Clancy's games have had a lot of issues in general, anyway. Because obviously Ubisoft, and Ubisoft. What was it? Ghostlands. Ghostlands. Is that one of those stupid? Basically, I can't remember what the game was, but it was like those more recent kind of like open world shooter Tom Clancy games.
Oh,
I kind of just
you're talking about.
Wildlands or something like that.
Wildlands. Yep.
Yeah,
It's
I remember
like co-op kind of.
Yeah, Ghost Recon
tactical.
Wildlands and Breakpoint. Thank you, Sukai in chat. Yeah, those two games did particularly poorly, and that was just kind of like a technical issue, I guess, for a lot of it, and some kind of dodgy shit. I think they tried to introduce NFTs or some shit in the more recent one, but I don't fucking know. Basically, Ubisoft just doing Ubisoft things, but I don't know if Tom Clancy would have the. It's kind of missing the. It's kind of missing the rapport with the public now because it has had a few fuck ups like this. They would have to do something that was astronomically exciting and awesome. But I don't know. Every time Ubisoft puts a game out recently, I play it and I'm kind of like, it just feels like you know when you walk into a hospital, it feels like a fucking hospital game. Like it just feels so lifeless and just like cookie cuttery. I think all the Assassin's Creed games that have come out recently have kind of felt like that as well. Probably the only good thing they've done recently is their Nintendo crossover with the Rabbids. In my opinion. But do you know what could work? Maybe Killzone. Remember Killzone?
Yeah, I do remember Killzone.
You know, maybe if they brought back Killzone in a big way and they just went real fucking hard on it to be like a COD, you know. Again, it's kind of like
Sony need to buy a Bungie cap there. I've said it.
They did.
Again. No, Sony didn't buy Bungie. Didn't fucking.
Well, they bought most of it, didn't they? They bought a shitload of it.
Did they?
Yeah. Hang on, someone fucking fact check me. I'm pretty sure.
Well, Activision Blizzard bought Bungie. Remember that? Activision Blizzard, and you could launch Destiny 2 through the Blizzard thing.
Okay, here we go. Sony officially owns Bungie now. But this is what I'm saying, Grizz, is like they're like, we could never kill COD. Meanwhile, they bought Bungie, who has arguably one of the best live service games of all time.
Exactly. Why don't they
it's a shooter.
Why don't they get fucking the Destiny devs to go and create a bunch of like sweet PvP games, action games? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Basically, I think all this boils down to, Grizz, is that Sony needs to complain at every possible opportunity because it's in their best interest for this to shit the bed. And yeah, that's just how it is. Interestingly, Grizz, and kind of moving along a little bit, Xbox offered Sony a 10-year deal for Call of Duty, which PlayStation effectively ignored.
Yeah.
Which is interesting.
Cap, so I think this is a good time to break down why people and Sony are so concerned about this. Did you do economics at school, Cap?
No.
Okay.
No, that's why my bank account looks fucked.
Did you ever learn about a monopoly? What happens in a monopoly?
Yeah, you can't pass go and you get $200, mate. Fucking oath. You're beauty.
All right. A monopoly refers to when company owns the whole basically franchise or the whole business. An example of monopoly, right, is power companies. Now, the power is obviously government regulated, so they can't sell out heaps. But once someone owns the whole industry, so say if Microsoft are killing the first-person shooter market, right? Everyone's playing on the Battle Pass, not Battle Pass, on the Xbox Game Pass, playing Call of Duty. No one's playing anything on PlayStation first-person shooter-wise. The first thing that happens, Cap, is they can up their prices of all their shit. They can increase the Battle Pass price. They can increase the price of their game because no one is going to go elsewhere to play Call of Duty. They can just play it on Xbox. Yeah. Second thing is they can get lazy and the quality of the service also goes down, an inferior product. So a monopolistic company will have no incentive to improve the quality of the goods they produce. Why would they? Customers can't buy it elsewhere, so they can slack off a little bit. And that's why people are kind of up in arms about this a little bit because we don't want to see a shit game that's expensive, right? So I don't know.
I think, look, I agree that could happen, but I couldn't see it ever really happening with Nintendo in the mix. I mean, there's always going to be an alternative to something like that. But yeah, I think ultimately what it boils down to is Sony's just going to poo-poo on literally everything they do. But I do love how because initially they only offered Sony a 3-year deal for COD on the Sony PlayStation. Now offering a 10-year deal, like, dude, let's think of it this way, right? Think about how much the gaming space has changed in the last 3 years, right? We now have cloud gaming that is quite, significantly far along. We have, these potential for games like game streaming sticks that can go into the back of your TV. Obviously, that's been put on pause for now, but Xbox has kind of been looking into it. We've even got people like Logitech creating handheld devices that do game streaming. I just feel like a 10-year deal for COD is hilarious because by that time, we're probably not even going to be using games consoles. We're probably going to be using like cloud streaming by then. Surely we get to that point by then. Surely our infrastructure gets to a point where, we finally don't need to carry around a fucking console anymore.
But the thing is, Cap, though, you're not going to be able to play COD on your PlayStation streaming service is probably what they're worried about. So they're going to lose it.
And this is what it all boils down to, right? It's
Yeah.
not about the Sony PlayStation. It's about Sony's relevancy in general.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. Absolutely.
I think that's the most important thing to take away from this. And that's why they will continue just to poo-poo on everything they do, regardless of what Microsoft says. Obviously, like the reasonings for Sony, kind of from our point of view, kind of seem a little bit pathetic and kind of, I don't know, a little bit hypocritical in a lot of ways because of their first-party IPs and stuff that they own and sell and don't give to Xbox. But yeah, I think ultimately, I hope this goes through. Personally, I want it to go through because it's big, it's huge, it's massive, but it's not as big as people are making it out to be in the sense that it's going to end. This will not create a monopolization. Not even close.
No, gaming market's too widely spread. I mean, examples of a monopolization right now, Cap, we're looking at one on Twitter right now, Elon Musk has bought this very huge fucking Twitter sphere and he's gone, right, all you verified bastards going to pay me $8. Yeah. $8, big bucks. That's
well,
it.
You can go and hang out with Zuckerberg on Facebook if you like.
So, that's his Facebook, and people are going and joining these other social media platforms. But I mean, Google are on board here as well with PlayStation here, Cap, around the acquisition. They've also come out and said pretty quietly that they were concerned about Microsoft as well. But at the same time, Cap, I kind of like, you can kind of see it, but at the same time, don't get bitter, get better.
Yeah, actually, just pulling something out of the chat here, Straight Jacket, no, what am I fucking from New Zealand? Straight Jacket Jim said, if Steam can't get done for being a monopoly, then Microsoft won't be. And that's so fucking true. Like, think about how many companies have come for Steam. Like, obviously, Epic Games. We had GOG. I mean, they're still in operation, but they wouldn't be turning over the numbers that Steam would be turning over. Like, if they can turn Gaben into the billionaire that he is, it's just it's a powerhouse. And I mean, how do you kill Steam? You just don't, because it's kind of like Glad wrap, right? You call it Glad wrap. You don't call it plastic cling film. You call it Glad wrap. Whereas with Steam, you don't call it my video game e-commerce platform. You call it Steam. Have you got it on Steam? So I don't know. That's the kind of how I feel about it. But yeah, no, I definitely agree with that, Jim. Good, very good observation, my good friend. Now, another thing about this, Grizz, is the Federal Trade Commission is they're not seeking yet. They're looking into legal. What's the word? Legal consultation, I guess, in America to see whether they should block.
This is the thing, Cap, right?
Microsoft's thing.
Yeah, so the Federal Trade Commission are going to try to block the takeover, right? This is what happens when you Well, they're looking at it. It's in the media that they're looking at it. So this is what happens, man, when someone's got too much power to essentially maybe make something more expensive or do those things we talked about that a monopolistic company would do, like we're seeing with Twitter. And the US pharmaceutical companies as well as another good example. And if that's what's going to happen, then you end up with something that the government has a bit more control over. And I don't know, for example, they subsidize stuff like public transport and other bits and pieces, or put a stop to the takeover. So I don't know. It's interesting how you can see the revolution of this, right? Sony are worried about potentially losing market share on stuff. you see Microsoft kind of rubbing their hands together, seeing an opportunity. Like, don't worry about Sony. They can be like Nintendo and go off and do their other thing. We're just going to go and do our thing. And then it's come down now to potentially a federal court case on it. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
But it's not the only thing of this ilk, actually, Grizz. There's a couple of places in the EU that are looking at whether they might take legal action against blocking Microsoft to perform something like this, which I think is kind of interesting, right? Because you kind of go, well, who has jurisdiction over this deal? You know what I mean? In terms of global kind of power.
Yeah, it's in the
I
US,
guess.
or where does it happen? Like,
Well, yeah, because
I mean,
Activision. I mean, I guess they kind of Activision are split across multiple countries. I guess Microsoft is literally global, so it's kind of hard to know who has the actual jurisdiction to stop something like this. And it kind of looks like everyone's kind of going, "Do we want to step in here?" I mean, $69 billion is a fucking shit ton of money. That's a lot of cash. So, I mean, obviously, it's going to be turning some eyes, but ultimately, yeah, I just find the fact that there's other places. Well, I guess more kind of law-abiding, kind of authoritative bodies investigating this deal to the point where they're going, should we block this? Is this? I guess it comes down to this whole thing of monopolization. Do they believe it's strong enough to potentially, cause some sort of monopolization? Which, if you are Sony, fucking oath.
Yeah,
we're never going to be able to put bread on our table ever again. Poor buggers. I feel real terrible for them.
If you were Sony, mate, would you take the 10-year deal to have COD on the console?
Not publicly.
Yeah.
No, if I was Sony, mate, I'd be crying black and blue. I'd be going,
what have they got to lose?
Kids.
What have they got to lose, I guess?
Billions of dollars worth of gaming. I don't know. But not really. I mean, let's be honest. Like, I think their market share might like, if they continue. But this is the thing. Like, we're seeing all these different companies snap up all these smaller developers. Like, and some of them aren't even small developers. They're huge developers like Bungie or Activisions and stuff like that. So I just think we're seeing this shift of power.
What's it going to... Dude, do you reckon in 20 years' time there'll just be Microsoft? And they'll just fucking own Sony? They'll own fucking everything, man. And then
Maybe.
you want the government to step in and go, right, you guys aren't allowed to make too much money. Like, you can't have your game worth $300 on the Microsoft PlayStation. You can't do that.
It's kind of like Alien, the movies, and obviously, hugely popular book series and everything else that goes with Alien. It's like, what is it, Wayne Enterprises? And it's like this dude who just owns everything, and it's just, it's just, that's the kind of shit that you gotta have. Like, I don't know, you have but you hear about that, all these kind of stories that people make up in fiction about, like, how instead of there being like country superpowers, it's like actually Microsoft owns the country, and like, Sony owns the other country, and then they got all this shit. I don't know. It's a hilarious thing to think about. But yeah, maybe one day we'll be sending in our driver's license request to Microsoft. I don't know. Who knows? Who fucking knows? But yeah, so there you go. Now, Grizz, putting the microscope a bit more on Sony here.
Yeah.
Microsoft, did I say Sony or Microsoft? I don't even know what I said. I don't even know where. I'm just getting so confused about Sony versus Microsoft, Microsoft versus Sony. Where am I? Anyways, Sony has had a patent bubble to the surface.
Yeah.
And it's an NFT blockchain patent. Did you have a bit of a look at this?
I did. And I couldn't see anything that said it was tied to blockchain, but the idea is basically the same as NFTs. So
it's blockchain in the sense of there's a ledger involved with their patent, which is a blockchain kind of generally-esque thing.
Yeah. So the patent report by Eurogame is called the Tracking Unique In-Game Digital Asset Using Token or a Distributed Ledger. Include diagram layout for mechanics, visual appearances, digital assets, and basically anything in-game.
It is quite interesting. I think the things that stood out to me with this, Grizz, was that now where did they write it? They basically were saying, like, you could own an in-game moment.
Yeah.
Which I thought was particularly, like, I was like, how does that work? Like, what? So, I mean, what in-game moment do you own? Do you own the moment that someone gets that final raid boss kill in Destiny? Do you own that moment as an NFT? What does that look like?
I kind of saw it as like the way the Dota 2 did it, where you had like an item that would drop when you watched something happen or something like that, and then you can apply it. I don't know whether it's like, I don't know how you can have the moment. Or maybe I don't know, man. Like an item that has an identifier on it that has a particular moment that happened in time. Maybe the day you went platinum on Elden Ring is marked on your pair of pants or your gloves or something.
No one's going to want to buy an NFT of me getting the Elden Ring platinum.
Well, here's the thing, Cap. I couldn't find anywhere in this article. Are these even going to be tradable, or is this just something that you own, you cherish, and you can show it off on your storefront? So I didn't see anything here that kind of ties this to the blockchain. It's just the idea of having a unique item, a non-fungible token. So I didn't have too many issues with this, because the issue with NFTs, Cap, is it's tied to the blockchain where people can farm them, use electricity, and we see all those negative things that come out of using the blockchain, where this was just kind of talking through digital assets and how they use them and how they make them unique for a game. We kind of have it, but we don't. Like in Dota 2, everyone has these items, but you've got the same items as me. The difference would be that I might have one item which is unique to me on something that I did that's tied to me. So it's kind of, I feel like this kind of different. I don't know whether they're going to be able to marketplace these. It's just kind of interesting.
Yeah. It'll all come down to implementation, right? And if they even do go ahead with it, because having a patent and actually using a patent are two very different things. I mean, the fact that they made one kind of suggests that they're probably thinking pretty hard about it. And we know for a fact that Sony produced a survey that kind of asked people how they thought about NFTs at the most recent Evo fighting game championship. So they definitely got it on their mind. Interestingly, though, with their most recent iteration of, well, I say their most recent iteration, it's their only iteration of a kind of loyalty program within their ecosystem, being the PlayStation Stars thing. And they were very, very quick to say this definitely isn't NFTs, by the way, guys, just so you know. Now they kind of have this patent bubble to the surface. It's just fucking like, what are you doing? I don't know. Everyone's very quick to be like, no, we're not doing NFTs, swear we're not. And then behind the scenes, they're like, what if we did a little bit of NFTs? You know, like
it's kind of weird because crypto's had this massive crash, right, Cap? Like anyone who was in crypto is probably not in crypto anymore, or people that weren't in crypto are probably going, oh, there's a massive dip here, maybe I'll buy it. So I feel like on my timeline, on my Twitter and etc., crypto and NFTs have gone silent. Because the market has fucking shit the bed. So now is not the time for Sony to be looking into using blockchain technology. I kind of don't mind the idea of having non-fungible tokens in games to the point of where it's the in-game currency. So an example for that for me is like, say, a Diablo 3 item. You drop and it's like a unique that is unique to you, and you go in the in-game marketplace and it's like, I don't know, you've killed this boss this many times or whatever it is, and you can sell that for in-game currency. The idea of like a non-fungible token that's within a game ecosystem and the currency is within that system is okay. The moment you step outside of that and you start using blockchain and all that ecosystem, and it generates, you know, more carbon emissions and everything else to farm that stuff, that's when it's no good.
Yeah,
So
I suppose, again, it'll come down to implementation, right? If they could utilize it in a way that it doesn't... I guess what, for me, really, is if they can produce something maybe that is completely separate from the real-world economy.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely, mate.
You know, I think that would be fun. You know, that might actually be fun to a degree, because the problem you're going to have there then, Grizz, is then, you know, if depending again on implementation, if you had an in-game currency that was a bit more like kind of exclusive because it was backed by a blockchain in terms of there being a finite amount of things and all this other shit, you know, certain gamers are going to shit all over other gamers because they've got more time, more of this, more of that. And then all of a sudden, blokes like you and me who have got fucking kids and trying to just have a bit of fun on the internet can't compete in that, so it doesn't become particularly fun anymore, right? So
we kind of had that with Diablo Immortal, didn't we? But the aspect of time was probably more money was the aspect that you had to filter into that game to find success. But yeah, I see ya.
Yeah. So I guess it'll obviously come down to.
Well, Sony are always big on their. I feel like they've been trying to pushed this collector thing for a while, Cap, and probably a good lead into the next story. But they've always had this like trophy system that obviously you earn trophies and other bits and pieces. And I wonder whether this NFT thing maybe is their like Sony-wide internal way to show your collection and collect moments and other bits and pieces. You know, it could even be the moment that you get a platinum on a game might be the NFT or whatever it might be that you're holding. So,
yeah, but then I'm kind of like, what's the fucking point in that? Because doesn't it normally take a screenshot of when you got your trophy a lot of the times these days? It's just like,
does,
I don't know what what is the point of that if not to just like drum up more hype for NFTs so they can eventually sell you NFTs down the track. You know what I mean? It kind of just doesn't make any sense to me. So it comes down to like why are they doing this? What are they trying? What do they want to do with it? Maybe
they are actually going to use blockchain, Cap, and then I'm selling my platinum on the blockchain on an NFT website. So you know, Grizzly Gaming 86 NFT got a platinum on Bloodborne. And it's the screenshot, and they sell that.
Of you getting a platinum. So I was like, yeah, I'll pay 50 cents for that. That's sick, eh? Who the fuck's Grizzly Gaming?
The thing about it is, Cap, if a platinum on Bloodborne is 0.01%, someone's probably going to want to have like a platinum Bloodborne in their collection. I don't know.
Surely they want to just go and get it for themselves. I just don't fucking get it. I really don't. It's just bizarre. Anyways, I suppose we'll see what happens with this one, Grizzly. It's fucking bizarre. But I think, I'm very interested to see what Sony actually produces. Now, more things about Sony, Grizz. We got a couple of things we want to talk about Sony. Sony's going to start to remove video games and punish developers of shareware video games and plus or easy platinums.
Yep. So I didn't know this.
Interesting.
Kat. I did not know this, but you can like go on the PlayStation Store, spend $1 on there to download a game, and it's a one-button game, and you just press it and you beat a couple of levels, and then they give you a platinum to add to your collection.
Yeah, pretty cool. Pretty freaking cool. So they're going to be scrutinizing video games that go into their storefront. I guess Steam's kind of had a similar issue with a lot of their games being I mean, we literally had a story last week about how someone stole a Superman demo from Unreal, the Unreal Engine, and then plugged it onto Steam. So I suppose it all comes down to how much is Sony willing to invest into scrutinizing these games that hits their storefront. Yep. What kind of controls are they putting in place? Obviously, announcing this, I assume that they're going to be kind of employing people to kind of comb through these things and fix up stuff. But I mean, for those at home that don't know what a shovelware is, it's basically like the way I look at it is it's kind of like, remember when you buy those things, it's like 500 games in one, and every single game's an utter piece of fucking shit. It's basically that.
I used to fall for that every time as a kid. I'd be like, I can't believe this.
500 games? Are you kidding me? Yeah, and then like half of them crash or they're just absolutely knackered. Yeah. So that's basically what shovelware is. And I mean, you kind of look at a lot of these shop fronts these days, like, you know, you look at Sony, and then you look at Steam, and you look at the amount of garbage that is hanging around on some of those shop fronts. I think that's kind of what shovelware's become now, is kind of like these quick buck games where people quickly copy certain things. Like, for example, I mean, can you remember when Flappy Bird came out, and then on the App Store
Heaps
there was like
clones,
50 million freaking Flappy Bird clones. So that's kind of, I guess, what people are using to describe shovelware these days. So if it's a blatant copy of another game or stuff like that, they're going to be highly scrutinizing that and probably getting it off their marketplace, or just punishing developers and telling them to get their shit together. So
it says here, Cap, that Sony will be reviewing all games submitted for approval, and games that copy other titles with easier platinums will be rejected when they first get uploaded as part of that review cycle. Now, the penalties are interesting. So if you are a studio that has the rights to upload to Sony, and you get pinged by one of these, you first get reduced visibility and discoverability on the store. And then there's also potential that Sony will terminate the PlayStation Partner Program and have all your games to date removed on the store as well. So,
which is pretty brutal.
Yeah.
You know? You think about how some of these people are making their money, though. But at the same time, I suppose it comes down to that that quality problem you were talking about, Grizz. I mean, obviously that was sort of more to do with monopolization, but just these people churning out these low quality games and making a quick buck off people that maybe fall for the trap of thinking, oh, that the screenshots don't look too bad, and then bang, they get hit with some absolute piece of garbage.
There's also a lot of people out there, Cap, that genuinely are proud of their trophy collection. And when they, platinum certain games, and I say I've got 15 PlayStation Platinums and everything else. And I think that Sony are really wanting that to be an achievement on how many medals you've gotten. And if you can go and spend $5 and get 5 clicker games and get 5 plats, then yeah, there's something wrong.
I'm really surprised that Sony didn't have some kind of control over platinums already, because I feel like platinums are quite a I don't know. Platinums are quite a what do you call it? Like
it's arduous, isn't it? Have you got any platinums, Cap? Have you got any platinums? No. Me either, mate. Not even fucking close.
I think I've had the intention, but I mean, again, going back to Banter section, my attention span for video games fucking pathetic.
Dude, I'm pretty sure the platinum for Elden Ring, Cap, is like all talismans and all items and like a bunch of pretty much all the endings, and it's
not happening.
A lot of gameplay. Pav, you were going to say something? I saw you getting up nice and close there, mate.
Not a platinum because it's on Steam, but I'm 2 away from Hollow Knight.
How many hours is that, you reckon, Pav?
I don't even know, a few hundred.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
There you go.
I also tend to play video games, or the games that I tend to play the most, I feel like are not platinumable. It'll be things like World of Warcraft or like Destiny that just have like an impossible amount of shit to do in those games where you could just probably never platinum it. Where
you've got some very cool achievements for both of those. You've got the Chronicle one in WoW, isn't it? Like all the lore. You've got a bunch of lore.
Yeah, I do have that. Yeah. So that's like, at one point, that was literally pretty much every quest in the game, and then it kind of got a little... Well, it's not easy to get it still. Like, you have to complete every single major storyline in World of Warcraft, essentially, up to that date. So I got it during Mists of Pandaria, which obviously there was less expansions then, so technically easier, but God, it took for fucking ever to do. And I remember having to like download an add-on to figure out what I was missing and do this and that. And
so imagine if you had an NFT from achieving that, Cap, of your face going, in time.
Or an NFT of me getting Mimron's head. That would have been pretty sweet.
True.
Which I've got the Twitch clip of that, which is pretty cool.
So that'd be kind of cool. Memories. I don't know. See how they implement it.
I don't know. We'll see what happens. But yeah, I mean, ultimately interesting to see Sony taking the hard move on these kind of low-hanging fruit developers, I guess. And I'm glad they're doing this, and I hope other shop fronts kind of do the same thing. I would love to see Steam maybe clean up their act a little bit, but I mean, ultimately, I guess they don't really have to, because
they're running a monopoly.
Why would they? Yeah. Why would they do that? It's going to cost them money, and they don't need to do that.
Yeah.
That's just money coming out of Gabe Newell's pocket. So yeah. Now another thing Sony's doing, Grizz, is they're planning to foster the Chinese game dev scene.
Yeah.
Which I think is super fucking rad. So I think I'm trying to remember the exact figure. I think they basically said that they are going to be giving out a bunch of investment opportunities to certain developers over there. I think I'm just reading here, I believe over a dozen engineers or more, and they're going to be offering up to $140,000 each into these individual projects. I think it didn't say how many they're willing to do, though. I don't think.
Cap, did that just when I read this right? 140K. I assume that's US dollars into individual projects made in the country.
1 million yuan, which is
that to me. It didn't sound like a heap of money.
$207,000. Well, okay. It might not sound like a lot of money, but also don't forget that their economy and stuff is a lot different to ours.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
but also think about what people get paid, right? So, 200,000 Australian dollars. I mean, I don't know what the average salary for a programmer in China is, but I can tell you it's a lot less than what a programmer in Australia makes, almost certainly. So that might net them, a few extra people on the team, or make sure that they can keep that team working because they've got cash to do so for a little bit longer. I think it's a fairly sizable chunk of cash that'll take the pressure off some of these devs. Now, I personally think this is pretty fucking cool. I mean, we've got some interesting games coming out soon.
Yeah.
such as Black Myth Wukong, which is that kind of Dark Soulsy Wukong game. We've also got that other one called Where the Winds Meet, which is that kind of open world Chinese mythology inspired game that was announced at the Summer Games Fest, and that's kind of got that Ghost of Tsushima cross with Assassin's Creed kind of vibe going on, with kind of some magical Chinese folklore shit happening.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of these interesting developers that, you know, I think there's a lot of cool shit going on in China that they could potentially get some other really radical games coming out
I think
as well.
I think Genshin was also Chinese dev as well, Cap.
Yeah, actually, I think you're right.
Highly successful.
I
So
wonder
yeah,
who is that?
it would be very cool. I think that'd be very cool.
Yeah,
See some
so
more games in our media.
Obviously, we won't see the I guess the, what do you call it, the boon
fruits of the
having,
labor.
yeah, the fruits of giving these people a significant sum of money anytime soon. But it's always good, I think, to be getting this happening. So Genshin Impact is developed by MiHoYo, who also did a bunch of other weird anime shit as well. So I've definitely seen the name before though, but not looking particularly appealing. But yeah, anyway, so I guess probably maybe seeing some of this stuff coming onto Game Pass eventually. It'd be interesting to see if Black Myth Wukong and maybe Where the Winds Meet. I wonder if that one will come out. Or was that announced in the Sony? I don't think it. Oh, maybe it was Sony. Oh, now I'm curious. Now I'm curious to know whether Where the Winds Meet was a Sony thing. I vaguely believe it might be a Sony thing, but anyways, I'm going off a tangent. Doesn't matter. Yeah, Sony giving out cash to some Chinese devs, which I think is fucking radical. Now, completely unrelated to Sony and Microsoft Grizz.
Yeah.
Callisto Protocol announced it's got a season pass coming, which I thought was interesting for a single-player game, but that's just me. How do you feel about? I mean, before we go into the actual story itself, how do you feel about season passes for single-player games?
I don't know, Cap, because I kind of feel like what content can you provide a single-player game that is ongoing when you haven't got a multiplayer aspect and bits and pieces, and what are they going to be adding, like story elements or limited time stories? It depends on how I guess it's implemented. Yeah, I'm unsure. I don't think we've seen it in the past in a single player game. Cap, have we? Season pass?
No, I'm not too sure. I really feel like the word season pass is much more of a game, like a multiplayer kind of thing, or a live service video game. I really feel like they kind of. Again, I don't really know what this looks like 100%. We will get into the kind of specifics of what they're planning to include, but the language is really bizarre. I kind of feel like, why don't you just call it DLC? And I feel like people wouldn't bat an eyelid on this, and especially the part that we're going to talk about very shortly. But yeah, so basically they've sort of spoken about how they're going to have these season passes. The season pass will be sold for about $20. It's going to include story DLC that lets you dig deeper into the horrifying secrets, blah, 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 blah. They're going to have these skin collections, 2 new modes coming through the season pass, through these things called the Contagion and Riot bundles. Now, the Riot bundle includes what sounds like a survival game mode for this, which could be pretty cool, depending on how well it I guess it's going to depend on how good the game feels to control. Because I remember, like, I love Dead Space as a video game, but it was pretty fucking clunky, and I feel like it might be a difficult ask to have like a significant what do you call it? What do they call that mode again? Survival mode for this. So, which it kind of sounds like a horde mode to me. So I don't know. It says gather credits to upgrade your weapons or forge new ones and survive the onslaught as long as you can in Riot. So
that sounds pretty cool. Yeah,
that sounds like it could be pretty cool. So hopefully it controls well. Now the interesting one here, Grizz, is the Contagion bundle, which is part of this season. This season pass thing includes 13 new death animations.
Yeah.
Alongside what sounds to be the game's most difficult mode. Now, at first, when people read this, I think they went, what the fuck? You're charging me for death animations? Are you kidding me? And then Glenn A. Schofield came out to say, to be clear, we're not holding anything back from the main game for the season pass. We haven't even started working on this content yet. It's all new stuff that we'll be working on in the New Year's. Fans have asked for even more deaths because, I mean, let's be honest, I don't know if people have watched some of the death animations in this game, but they are horrific in so many ways, actually make you want to turn away from your computer screen at points.
They're very well implemented into the game as well. Like,
oh,
you just
dear God. Yeah.
make a slight wrong turn into a fan and, see you later.
Your character is, mincemeat. But I think initially people saw this and they went, that is the most bizarre thing of all time. Also, the fact that they use the wording, as we sort of noted,
season pass.
Like, what the hell's going on here? But what I think might actually be underlined here, and I don't know this for sure, Grizz, and unfortunately, Glenn Schofield's tweet doesn't really make it super obvious, but he has kind of told people to trust in the fact that we're not kind of charging you for the animations. I think what might happen is maybe the new story content might include things that will lead to those new animations.
Okay. I think that I agree with you, Cap. They definitely could have used better wording here. Basically what they are selling you here is they're going to have continued stuff they're going to be adding to the game over time that you pay for, like DLCs. But it's kind of a bit different though, because I feel like in the season pass, it's including there's multiple things that you get in it. Probably, I don't know, would you say more than a DLC? I feel like a DLC is like an extra chapter, or I don't know, for Bloodborne, it's like an extra areas or story missions where they've gone, here's this survival mode, here's some death animations and bits and pieces. So I don't know, finding like maybe they'd struggle to find a good term to name that, but I can see where people are coming from, Cap. Like, death animation sounds like something you should just get in the main game, right? Like, if they're going to be adding in 16 new ones, why can we not have that on release kind of thing in the game? So if they haven't worked on those and they're going to be introducing them, then maybe it's okay.
Yeah, it'll depend on how it actually looks in the end product. But I from what I kind of read, it kind of seems to me like those animations are going to be a part of that new DLC's content rather than like the main game missing animations and you having to pay to get those animations as an add-on. So and it was an interesting story just in general, I think, just because at first when I read that I was just like, fucking wait, what?
Well, Cap, how excited are you for this game, mate? You obviously love Dead Space and there's a lot of
I'm really keen. I mean, I was such a massive Dead Space fan. I still am. Like, I just feel like that IP had so much potential. I read all the books that went with it. I bought all the comics. There was movies like anime movies that went with it, and I thought they were all fucking brilliant. I love that kind of grim, dark space horror thing going on, and I really feel like Dead Space did such a good job of it. Kind of decayed towards the end of its trilogy, but for the most part, I mean, Dead Space has got such a great spot in my heart, and obviously having ex-Dead Space devs work on this kind of swan song to Dead Space, I think is really cool. Obviously, we also have the Dead Space remake coming at some point, probably next year, I think it was. And I tell you what, that game is being created off the ground quite quickly, given when they announced it. Yeah, and it's apparently due next year, I'm pretty sure. So, a lot of... I feel like all of a sudden, like, gaming seems to go through these weird, like, phases. Like, it's zombies, and then it's ninjas, and then it's pirates, and then it's space horror.
100%,
and like we're kind of in space horror at the moment. You know what I mean? Like, it's just so hilarious. So like, I mean, like when we had the Summer Games Fest early in the year, there was like 4 or 5 different space horror kind of video games coming out all at once. So I'm pretty I'm really excited for this game though. In general, I think it looks quite interesting. I hope that they can do a really good job of fleshing out the universe. I think what I really liked about Dead Space is it always came back to this idea that there was kind of like a Lovecraftian aspect to it, where these objects had been left behind, which was turning people into these monsters, and where the fuck did those objects kind of come from? And that was never really addressed very well, if at all. So I don't know if they can do something cool like that. I'm such a sucker for having some kind of weird Lovecraftian aspect to any media. So
that's why you love Bloodborne so much, wasn't it?
Yeah, Bloodborne is a pinnacle of modern media just in general, not even video games. Like that thing deserves like a fucking, I don't know, whatever the literary prizes are that gives people hella good shit for writing good shit. So, anyways, Callisto Protocol looks pretty freaking interesting, Grizz. So
Yes.
there you go.
Hell
Now
yeah.
that pretty much covers most of the main topics, Grizz. So should we get the litmus test on the poll? What do you reckon?
Yep, let's do the poll. You've guys have probably got 15 seconds to vote in this poll before we announce the results. But Cap, we do one of these polls every week, don't we?
Absolutely, we do. So every weekend, Saturday, Sunday, sometimes early Friday arvo. Probably not very likely. You're generally going to get it Sunday at 7 p.m.
Yeah.
When we fucking remember. We post an OGR poll. Now, we ask a different question every week. We want to get people's opinions on things as well. So if you want to drop a vote, all you have to do is go to twitter.com/OGR show. Follow us and keep an eye on our Twitter over the weekend, and we'll be posting a question poll thing for you guys to vote in. And obviously, we'd also love you guys to let us know what you think in the comments. Like if you've got an interesting take or you got something you want to say about why you voted a particular way, we'd love to know why. Now this week last week we had the Game Awards, which is hosted by Jeff Keighley. We spoke about that last week. They announced their contenders for all of their different Game Awards categories, including Game of the Year. So we know who they wanted to kind of nominate for that. So of the games that came out this year, they had the following options for Game of the Year. They had A Plague Tale Requiem. They had Stray, which is that cute little cat game. Xenoblade Chronicles 3, Horizon Forbidden West, God of War Ragnarok, and Elden Ring.
Yeah.
So, Grizz, shall we without further ado, go through
Absolutely. So we had on the main stage, because you only get 4 options in these polls, unfortunately, God of War, Xenoblade, Horizon, and Elden Ring. And then we had Plague Tale and Stray. You could put a little cat emoji or a little mouse emoji in the comments. Now, Pav did vote for Stray in the comments. Shout out to Pavloverface, twitch.tv/Pavloverface, legend, also producer.
Yep.
But that was the bottom. We had Horizon Forbidden West actually with 0 votes, Cap 0%, surprising.
Not surprising in my opinion in comparison to what else is available.
Yep, you might be right. And also Plague Tale not receiving any votes. Then we had Xenoblade Chronicle 3 at 10% of the vote, God of War Ragnarok at 20% of the vote, and Elden Ring at 70% of the vote. So
yeah,
if the OGR listeners were voting for determining the Game of the Year, Cap,
it would be
Elden Ring.
Elden of Rings.
The Elden Ring.
The Elden Ring. Now, Grizz.
Yes.
Did you know that the Elden Ring board game has fully been released on Kickstarter now, so you can go and kickstart that?
Have you kickstarted it, Cap?
I'm going to, and I'm going to go the all-in pledge as well, which is about $400.
Jesus Christ, mate.
It looks fucking nuts good.
Does the all-in pledge get you heaps of shit, or what's the go? Does it get you all the things?
Let me get the Elden Ring board game. Let me get the thing up because it looks fucking sick. So they do that kind of diceless combat thing with cards and stuff, and they've got these books that you use to create quests, and they use this hexagonal kind of like a hexagonal map thing that enables you to sort of have like what do you call it? Like explore areas basically. Cool. So which is really, really fucking rad, and have like dynamic kind of questing each playthrough. Now they've got all kinds of shit here. So the all-in pledge will get you the following. Where are we? So you're going to get the base stuff, which has where are we? Jeez, there's honestly so much shit on this particular Kickstarter. It's actually kind of hard to figure out what's going on. So the entry pledge would get you the Weeping Peninsula standalone with 20 miniature, 500 cards, 45 modular hex tiles, 100 plus tokens, 4 ring-bound quest books, and 4 tarnished dashboards. So you get 4 different characters, and then you get to fight against Misbegottens, Strays, what's your boss? The Leonine Misbegotten. And that's kind of what you get in that. Now, they also have another expansion called Realm of the Grafted King, which is, I guess that's got a bunch of other kind of shit that you can get with the bosses being trolls and the Beast of Farah Missoula and the Tree Sentinel.
Tree
And
Sentinel.
also Margit the Fell Omen. So, and then they've also got like Stormvale Castle, Flying Dragon Agahil. They got the Erd Tree, Iron Fist Alexander, and a bunch of other cool shit that comes with the. Basically, so I think the all-in pledge. Here we go. 100 plus miniatures.
Holy shit, dude! This is what you're getting.
2,500 cards.
We are playing this on the
Absolutely.
OGR Twitch. 100%. Pav's so
Absolutely.
keen. Pav is so keen for it.
Yeah, we're going to Pav's house to play it. And then 90 plus hours of replayable campaign, which is baller.
90 hours, Pav. Yep, sweet.
Lock yourself
You're in.
in, mate. I'm bringing Theo as well. You're going to be looking after him whilst I play video games. So yeah, there you go. So it looks pretty cool. But yeah, so if you're interested in the Elden, that's for the all-in pledge, 2,500 cards, by the way. So if you want to go the base level thing that has just literally the core set, I think it's like 250 or something. That I announced a little bit earlier. But yeah, so anyways, looks really freaking cool. And the miniatures look fucking baller. So if you're interested in backing that campaign, just go to look up like Elden Ring board game and then look up the Kickstarter campaign. Pretty freaking cool.
Now, Cap, just back on the poll piece, I think it's important to reiterate how you kind of felt playing God of War Ragnarok at the moment. Obviously, sounds like there's a couple of little minor annoyances in the game. And we obviously both voted Elden Ring, but also Moosey's comment here saying, I might be biased, but for some reason, I feel I've heard at least one thing about Elden Ring every week, probably because you listen to this podcast. So it seems no one has forgotten about it since it launched. I do, however, have some minor issues with God of War. Have not played Stray or Plague Tale, so probably feeling similar to you, Cap.
Yeah, I'd love to know what Moosey's issues with God of War, but I'm sure it's probably in a similar vein to what I'm feeling. Just that kind of like repetition of the game. And I mean, the game is beautiful, don't get me wrong, and the zones are gorgeous. But I guess just the implementation of the gameplay just feels very samey. It just feels like you're moving from area to area, and the areas look really nice, but it's the same puzzles. You then get hit with the same combat loop. And because I think this is another issue with God of War is because the combat system has just so much shit you can do, you forget what you can do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then you just resort to like R1ing and R2ing when you should be doing like L2 plus R1 to do this. And then, you want to do an uppercut and then use Atreus to do that. And then you just forget all this shit, and there's just too much shit going on. So the combat becomes just a default because it's just too hard. Anyways, that's my complaint with it. But I definitely think Elden Ring went for arguably a more streamlined combat because I mean it's fairly straightforward. It's just different weapons, but the weapons they all have an R1, they all have an L2, all that kind of shit. So I don't know. Interesting. Moosey's actually in chat now. He said his issues with it were the repetition, some janky mechanics and such, some cut corners I've noticed also. I'd actually agree with that as well, which is interesting for a game that I guess I feel like they just probably wanted to get this out so they could work on the next iteration of God of War or whatever else they're working on. But they didn't have to build the engine for this because the engine was already built, and I guess they kind of hung off the back of this bad boy. So I don't know. I feel like they probably should have had a bit more time to make something a bit more interesting. But anyways, c'est la vie. It's a good game regardless. It's a banger. It's definitely worth being in contention for Game of the Year. But does it take Game of the Year? I don't think so.
I think they've leveraged too hard off people getting right into the story and maybe slacked on the mechanics a little bit. Capo, maybe. I haven't played it. I can't. What am I kidding? I haven't played it. Capo.
In all honesty, though, like. The game is baller. Like some of the boss battles I've done recently have just been nuts. Like this one particular one where I fought this thing called a Nidhogg, and holy shit, that was.
Have you ever played the game Nidhogg before?
Yes, I have. Yeah.
The swords.
Yeah.
Anyway,
crazy
sorry,
game,
off
crazy
topic.
awesome
Good
party game. But yeah, so there you go. Anyways, OGR listeners predict that Elden Ring will take home Game of the Year at the Game Awards 2022. There you go.
Hell yeah, baby.
Confirmed prediction. Now, Grizz, it's that time of the night where we begin the quickfire. So let's freaking get in here. And we just want to let everyone know at home that this quickfire, as with every other week, is brought to you by our wonderful sponsor. We're just going to play this little stinger here announce our wonderful sponsor.
We couldn't get him live to say it, so the stinger's going to have to do.
Yeah. Brought to you by.
This is going to be the last
brought
week.
To you, brought to you by.
This is the last
brought
week.
to you by
DJ Francesco.
I hate
there
it.
we fucking
I hate
go.
it so much.
Thank you, DJ Francesco, for bringing the quickfire this week. Freaking appreciate you, baby. All right, let's dive in. Rockstar reportedly turned down Eminem for a GTA movie, Grizz.
Really? Turned down? Wait. Eminem turned down Rockstar, or Rockstar turned down Eminem?
Okay, so it turns out that the Top Gun director, Tony Scott, was going to be called up to direct a GTA movie that was to be starring Eminem, and Rockstar turned it down.
Wow. Well, there you go.
So quite interesting. They could have had that would have been pretty interesting, though.
I wonder what issues they had with that, Cap. I wonder why they didn't want to do that.
Maybe I mean, it could literally have been as simple as they thought the movie might harm the franchise in a way that it might have diminished or devalued it because they didn't like the story, or maybe they thought the movie wouldn't be very good.
I'm going to be honest. A GTA movie doesn't sound that great to me.
No, I agree. I reckon it sounds fucking boring as shit. But I don't like Grand Theft Auto anyway, so I'm sure people would have gone and watched it. But I suspect maybe what might have happened was that. So apparently this was after GTA 3 came out. They were thinking about doing this. It says here, I remember taking a call at about 4 a.m. from one of the producers in LA with an offer to make a film, and he said, Kirk, we've got Eminem to star, and it's a Tony Scott film. $5 million on the nose. Are you interested?
Oh, God. There you go.
And they said, not interested. So
no, thank you, sir.
Which I find quite interesting. So there you go. All right, your turn, mate.
All right, Cap. God of War Ragnarok makes history as the fastest selling PlayStation first title, party game. Now, Cap, they sold 5.1 million copies, and this was released by PlayStation on their Twitter during the week. So
how many copies was it?
5.1 million copies, Cap.
Interesting. Well, as the next story, that was that was eclipsed by Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, which sold 10 million units within the first 3 days of release, which is kind of bonkers.
Now, this kind of comes back to the first story, Cap, when we were talking about the difference between Nintendo and PlayStation and how Microsoft's going, PlayStation should just go and do what Nintendo does because they can do it. Have a look at this fucking game that everyone reckons is real buggy in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, selling 10 million copies in 3 days is just ridiculous. And then you've got PlayStation over here clapping hands and being all excited about sold half the amount, but still.
Yeah. They should be more like Nintendo and sell 10 million copies in 3 days. You know, maybe Microsoft's onto something.
Absolutely.
Now, interestingly, Grizz, we kind of discussed it earlier, but a modder has released a 4K 60 FPS mod for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, and man, it looks unbelievable. Hey, it's so crisp, but it definitely shows off some of the interesting development decisions that have been made to, I guess, kind of keep that game under control. And I think the one thing is like the load distance on some of the stuff, like you just see in this mod, things pop into existence all of a sudden. And I mean, you do see that in the iteration on the Switch, but it looks very jarring on this, I thought, which
it does a bit. I wonder if you can get hold of it. I don't know whether you can get hold of it yet, but so that kind of modding thing, Cap, that's obviously done on PC, and you play the game on PC. Is that right? Through an emulator? Is that?
Yeah, I assume. I don't know. I don't know much about Switch emulation, but I would assume that they basically just pull the ROM down, or they do some weird and funky shit to get it playing on some other kind of extracurricular device running through their PC, and then they run it via, much better, stats, rather than the specs of a Switch. So, there you go. All right, now Grizz, Santa Monica game director, i.e. the oh, hang on, I got the wrong one. Yeah, no, I'm right. Santa Monica, the God of War developer, Santa Monica, has a lot of different things in the works now. They basically alluded to the fact that on the horizon Corey Barlog has kind of said that they spread out on a few different things, so they're not just working on God of War by the sounds of stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, it'd be interesting to see what
Ooh.
they're going to pump out. They didn't really say much more than that, to be quite honest, but they've got a pretty big development studio, about 200 employees, I believe, and yeah, I mean, they could very well be working on, I don't know how God of War 2 ends, but they could very well be working on the next iteration of that. They could also be working on publishing some other interesting stuff, hopefully, maybe something a bit outside of their wheelhouse, something a bit more interesting. Not that God of War isn't interesting, but, maybe something a little bit different. So, yeah.
Just leads into the next one, Cap, where Santa Monica game director would like to work on Castlevania. Now, that link's actually not working for me, so I can't open the article. But is this true? That'd be sick.
Well,
could you imagine a Castlevania?
They're not working on Castlevania. They would like to work on Castlevania.
That would be dope.
I think if they could because I was thinking the more recent Castlevania 3D stuff that they did that wasn't particularly well critically acclaimed, but if they could do that with the God of War kind of equation, I definitely feel like they could be onto something really fucking baller. Because I mean, the Castlevania animes have been doing really well on Netflix, for example.
Yeah, I watched a bit of that. It was pretty decent. I quite enjoyed it. Pretty gruesome. Yeah, not bad at all.
So I mean, they could do a really good job of that IP, but they would have to get it off Konami, which fucking good luck, in my opinion. I think Konami owns Castlevania. I'm pretty sure they do. And we know what... Well, I mean, I tell you what, Konami are kind of making their way back into the video game industry recently, so this could be maybe a good chance for them to maybe just allow someone like Santa Monica to publish something, but then they would have to probably be Sony PlayStation bound. Would Konami want to be PlayStation bound? I'm not too sure, because Konami's kind of they definitely are the kind of company to be in the realm of, or in the business of making money, which I mean, I know a lot of businesses are, but I definitely can't imagine them restricting themselves to one particular console for a significant amount of time. So I would have thought that if Konami wanted to give this out to someone, they would have tried to give it to an IP or developer that could develop it for multiple consoles. So we'll see what happens. I mean, we know they're working on a lot of, Konami just recently announced a bunch of Silent Hill stuff. So we know that they're open to creating new first-party kind of awesome not first-party, AAA video games that aren't just, gambling things. So maybe, you never know, we might see something like this. But anyways, there you go.
There you go, sir. Cap, we have a new hero coming to Overwatch, mate. Ramatra, a new tank hero coming. Now, do we know when this is being released? What does it say? December the 6th. There you go.
Yep. New tank hero, I believe.
New tank hero.
He's got this big scepter that does pew-pews. So
yeah, I'm just watching it. Looks kind of cool. Can also place a wall down as well. Kind of fill off a direction. Not sure what the ult does, but Cap, have you been playing any Overwatch 2? I know that you downloaded it and were giving it a tickle with Adrian and a couple of others.
I did. It was fun for a little bit, but you know what? I was actually, as you were talking about this, in my mind, I was just like, I just don't want to play Overwatch.
No.
I do not want to play Overwatch. So
did it do enough, Overwatch 2, to bring people from Overwatch 1 and create something new? Did it do enough to give people a fresh gameplay experience, do you feel?
I mean, it didn't do enough for me. Did it do enough for other people? Potentially. I would love to see their average player count and stuff and how that's looked over the release. How does it look to numbers from Overwatch 1 around this time? I would love to see a comparison of that. I doubt it exists, but it would be nice to see something. I'd love to see Overwatch 1 when it first released, player counts in those first few months versus Overwatch 2. I feel like it wouldn't be particularly exciting, but I don't know.
There is some statistics. I don't know how true they are, but it says online players in the last hour is 165,000, which isn't. Is that a lot? I don't know whether that's a lot or not. I don't feel like that is.
That's not too bad. That's pretty good. I would have thought that was pretty good. Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like there's Overwatch didn't really do an awful lot, so I had kind of discounted it. But I mean, that's a reasonable amount of, players. So
average daily players 1.8 million is what they're saying here in the last.
What?
in the last 30 days, average daily players.
That's pretty
Fuck,
good.
Who
That's
knows?
a lot.
But dude, this is from Google. Who knows, mate? Might not be true because
Yeah.
I haven't seen anything about it. Like it's really fallen off the socials. That's for sure.
Oh, absolutely, completely, and even with this new Ramatra hero, I feel like it hasn't like really emboldened people to go back and jump in. Well, at least I don't feel like it's done that. But anyways, all right, Grizz,
Yes.
Hyperkin. They're a company, and they're bringing back the Xbox 360 controller. It's fully licensed, and you will be able to have one and do so what you will with it. You can probably add it to your PC, chuck it on your Xbox. Fully licensed Xbox 360 style controller being developed by Hyperkin.
Tell me, Cap, did people love the Xbox 360 controller? Did they?
Oh fuck yeah, dude.
Yeah?
Yeah, people were very sad when the Xbox One controller came out and superseded it, I think.
Yeah, right. Okay. Cool.
And I think it was kind of like, because I don't know if you remember the original Xbox controller, it was like I don't know. I don't even know how to describe it. It was the most.
Yeah, it was like a big
probably,
it's kind of like a Switch Pro, but maybe bigger than that, wasn't it?
It was like a Switch Pro if it only ever ate McDonald's. So yeah, it was a chonker.
Hey,
so
Cap,
yep.
do you like Netflix?
Yeah.
Do you reckon they would make a good video game?
Probably not.
Okay, well, Netflix is developing a high-budget AAA shooter game for PC.
Hey, see, there you go, Sony. Netflix can fucking do it. Surely you can too. Can't be that fucking hard.
It's very true. I wonder if this is going to be good. I wonder if you get this included in your Netflix subscription is my first question.
Ooh. I mean, how the fuck do they do that?
Yeah, I don't know.
How would they do that? I mean, because a lot of the Netflix stuff is all mobile games. So I reckon maybe they have I mean, Netflix definitely seems to want to dip their toes into the gaming scene. They kind of already have. Kind of looks like maybe maybe they're definitely trying to really get into that. I mean, Netflix is a media company, right? So why not try and kind of do more different types of media? So
I'm just thinking here, dude. Imagine like this AAA first-person shooter games on your mobile.
Yeah,
so Dabble Mortal style. Yeah,
pretty crazy.
Surely not. Surely it will get sold. What do you think? Do you think it'll come to Steam and do you think it'll?
I mean, it has to, right? Like, fuck, like where else are you going to sell it? If it's a PC shooter as well, I don't know. Unless Netflix does something absolutely batshit crazy, like creates their own platform to sell this game on, which I just think would be the death of this game because no one's going to want to buy a game on a Netflix like PC app. I don't know. It just seems bizarre. So I don't know. We'll see what happens, Grizz. Anyways, CG Project Red finally announced the details on their next-gen version of The Witcher Thrice.
Yes.
So,
now
what have they fucking got going on in here, Grizz? I'm trying to find the fucking.
They got improved visuals. Cap. They got ray tracing. More space reflections, improved foliage, better textures, a bunch of other better enhancements. I don't know what this means. Fullest thanks to FSR 2.1 and DLSS 3 support. Does that mean anything to you, Cap?
Yeah, FSR is like when you get you're in the game and then like something happens and you're like, oh, fuck's sakes, really? That's FSR.
Okay. Yeah, it's good they got that in there because I tell you what, the fucking horse, when it doesn't go the way you want it to go.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, I have no fucking idea what FSR is.
Well,
so
actually, here is the thing because, dude, controlling Roach was really annoying, wasn't it, Cap? Like, trying to get over a bridge and you run. So they've said here camera controls and UI changes. So rediscover the continent from a new perspective. We've added an alternative camera option that'll bring you closer to the action. So I wonder whether they're going to fix some of the camera issues and bits and pieces that Witcher 3 had. So,
I mean, there was some pretty funky camera shit going on in Witcher 3. So I'm sure that they could do some development changes to make it a little bit better.
Yeah.
But yeah, also they bring in a photo mode, integrated mods. We've included some community made favorites in addition to our own modifications, which It's a bit of a shame they didn't announce what those were in here. At least I can't see that they have. Be nice to know what they're doing, but there you freaking go.
Anime babe mode. Skyrim's got heaps of those. It's pretty good.
Just Geralt with massive tits.
Yeah.
That'd be funny. Quest fixes, because you've been asking for them and we couldn't say no. It's nice that they did that. And Netflix DLC, we have a very special treat for fans of the show. Enjoy alternative looks for Dandelion and Nilfgaardian soldiers, as well as a new quest inspired by the show where you'll be able to get diagrams for and new equipment for Geralt. What's the quest? Shh, no spoilers. So there you go. So they got some Netflixy shit happening. Cross progression as well, a feature that they had in Cyberpunk. I think that's a great idea. But yeah, just breathing a bit of extra life into this game. I guess this will hopefully tide people over until more AAA Witcher games are available in the coming future. So there you freaking go, sir.
Cap, Xbox puts its streaming only console on hold due to high costs. So Microsoft's streaming only Xbox console, codenamed Project Keystone, was put on hold because it was too expensive to produce. So there you go.
Yeah. Which is interesting, Grizz, because I'm pretty sure that Xbox already takes a hit on every console they sell anyway. So it must have been quite a significant cost drop for them to go, we can't afford to make this.
Wow, it takes a hit on every console they sell. So what do they make money from? From the games and the Game Pass and stuff?
Game Pass and all that other shit, and just like overall buyer sentiment, I guess. Here it says here, even though Microsoft takes a hit on every console it sells, Xbox boss Phil Spencer has said Microsoft loses between $100 and $200 on every Xbox Series X and S sold, which is actually kind of crazy. That's a lot of money, dude. That is a shitload of money. And to think that like there's probably a lot of stock that just sits in game shops and stuff, and it's just like these things that they've had to make, on their own dime. Kind of crazy. But yeah, I think this is a shame because, well, to me, I mean, I don't know the technological issues with producing something like this, but I kind of thought it was just going to be something similar to like a Google Chromecast, which, I mean, they sell like so Google.
Yeah, I've got the Amazon version, which is called the Fire Stick. Same thing.
Yeah. Yeah, like at JB Hi-Fi, you can buy a Google Chromecast for $39.
Yeah.
Now that might be the version 1, I don't know, but regardless, that's pretty low price. So it makes me wonder like where their price point was, what they were trying to hit. I guess I don't know. I can't remember. I don't even know what they sell an Xbox Series S for these days. Sure, it's about $400-$500. So presumably, maybe they probably wanted to sell this stick at about $50 to $60. I would have thought ish. Maybe a little bit more than that. And maybe they kind of thought, well, what's stopping people from just buying the console for a little bit of extra cash, perhaps? Maybe that was their kind of marketing decision. Or maybe they're just kind of going back to the drawing board and seeing what they can do. So I don't know. It's interesting. I hope that it does come down the track and maybe they can make it work. But yeah, there you go. Now, Grizz, Valheim, great survival game, Viking survival game. They've got a new DLC called Mistlands coming, and it's available for public testing now. Now, there's a bunch of shit that they have released with this particular DLC, which includes new mechanics. Now, hang on, let me get the new mechanics. All right.
Wow. There's a gameplay trailer in it. It looks really pretty.
Yeah, like they actually have magic and stuff now, so you can cast magic. Wisp light, move the mist out of your way using stationary wisp light. So I guess they must be doing some weird thing with mists that you have to navigate through using this wisp light stuff. You can grow mushrooms. You can get hens going. There's friendly and unfriendly NPCs. There's a bunch of new creatures and enemies. They got a bunch of new crafting stuff going on. New food items, craftable items, new buildings. So probably a good time to jump into the game. Looks like they've also done a bunch of fixes and improvements and some overhauls to some of the mechanics like fishing and stuff. So, hey, might be time for old Clappo to jump in. It's on Game Pass. So
fantastic game, mate. Cracking game.
Pav's pointing at things. What are you pointing
Co-op, 4-player co-op. We should do an OGR at night, some beers and that.
I was just agreeing. Fantastic game. One of the few survival games I'll happily play again.
Yep. Okay. There you go. Well, I guess we'll be playing that again. All right. Your turn, Chris. Off you go, mate.
Yeah, Dark Tide, which is the Warhammer 40k game that Cap and I talked about in the last episode, is allowing your progression to carry from the beta into the full release, and they've also released some patch notes, Cap. So a couple of things, I guess, in the patch notes that are interesting is there's a UI for interacting with Workshop is now available. What have we got here? Players can earn crafting materials from missions via pickups now. The Workshop interaction points available. I said that. Armor exchange update, buy characters and weapon skins in the store, which is cool. So they haven't been able to do that. And then it looks like a bunch of quality of life and some UI fixes. Now, I will say, Cap, that, and I don't know if I've said this on stream yet, but I had some big stability issues with Dark Tide, apparently to do with some of the 2080 20 series GPU crashing problems. So
Okay. Interesting.
I do hope that they continue to fix this. It is getting released when? Like, must be a couple of days now. Next week sometime, I think. 30th?
It's literally Wednesday.
Wednesday.
30th of November. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
yeah, very cool.
it was available for kind of like early access, I guess, for the last week and a bit. So you could play it early, but it is now. It'll be fully available on the 30th, including, I believe, going to be on Xbox Game Pass.
Man,
same timing.
They have worked so hard. They've been releasing patches like every couple of days, and these patch notes are very extensive. Lots of tweaks and fixes and bits and pieces. So, but they're looking forward to releasing this. And guys, definitely go check it out. It is going to be on the Game Pass. Did you say that, Cap?
Yep.
Did you say that?
On Game Pass.
Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely.
Bloody good.
There you go. Now, Grizz, that's the end of the quickfire, and that's the freaking end of the show, my friend. That's everything. That's all we got. We got nothing else to tell you guys about. My God, not until next week. Next Monday, tick it around, and then all the rest of it. But look, as always, we just want to thank everyone for listening to this little podcast of ours. We bloody appreciate you guys consuming it, both live via Twitch. You too can watch live via Twitch every Monday night from 7 p.m. AWST. We record this podcast live, or you can listen to your own time at your own leisure, doing your own damn thing, even in your workday, etc. Go and listen to that on your favorite podcasting platform. But we do greatly appreciate you guys consuming this content. Now, as always, please go and tell some friends about this podcast. We'd really appreciate it. Share it on your socials. Tell your brother or your other siblings about it. Tell your mum about us. Sure she'll love it. But yeah, just get the word out there. Tell them we exist. We'd appreciate it. Now, again, thank you so much for patrons for your ongoing support. We really bloody appreciate you. If you would like to financially support this podcast and add a little bit of cash into our little busking hat, you just got to go to patreon.com/ I think it's OGR show. It is indeed. So there you freaking go. And you too can become a Patreon, like Sukai Musi, KG Runt, Sergeant Paul, Lee GD, and Jay Libs. Freaking legends. Now, every week we release a poll, gaming related. We do it on the weekends. You can simply go and follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/OGR show, or keep an eye on our Twitter to vote in that bad boy. And then obviously we talk about that every episode. Now, what else have we got? We got a Discord as well. Go and check out our link tree in the description of this episode or in the chat right now. You can go and join our Discord and come and talk shiznizzle with us, and that's great fun. We probably got to be looking at doing some game nights in the near future, I think, hopefully, so you can come and play some video games with us. My attendance, not so particularly easy with things, but we'll definitely have some of the boys coming around and doing some shit. But I'll be doing my best to get in there and having a bit of fun with you guys. And yeah, I think that about covers everything. We got anything else we want to talk about, guys? All good? All good from me. Easy peasy. Hopefully, it looks like the quality of this episode, audio wise, has been much better. So, thanks to Pav's, quick thinking, and getting on top of, phone calls. So, quick thinking. Got him. Anyways, appreciate you, Pav. Love you. But yeah, so we'll see you guys next week. Same time, same place. Monday nights, 7 p.m. AWST, recording live. Otherwise, we'll see you on podcasting platform. Love you heaps. See you next time. Peace freaking out. See you later. Hell yeah, brother.
We did it, boys.
I called them
Thanks, Jim.
eventually.
You did.
Jim, you
did.
bloody legend.
Jim, hope you're going well, mate. How the frick are you, brother?
What's been going on?
How long was that episode?
A bit of a lengthy one. We went just over. I started my time a bit late as well, but I think we're at about 1:45, so not much longer than our
That's not too
longest
bad.
episodes. So
I missed it, so I wasn't going fast enough.
Been good, mate. Cannot complain. End of the year, dude. It's so fucking crazy right now.
Oh, absolutely. I feel
Mental.
like my life is just sipping ahead in front of me at a pace.
whoops.
You're right, mate. But yeah,
Pav's
hope you're going well,
dying.
Jim. You freaking legend.
Struggling.
Silly season.
Absolutely
silly
silly season,
season.
dude. I got gigs. What have I got? 2 gigs this weekend, 2 gigs next weekend.
I need to do the
Oh, I actually got some pub gigs, Cat.
Ooh.
Oh, do you?
Got Leaderville. We're doing Roberts on Oxford, I think it's called. It's a tiny little fucking bar. So we're just doing a 3-piece gig in there. You should come. You should come say hi, Pav.
Yeah, when are you doing that?
That is on the 10th of December
Busy.
on a Saturday.
Maybe. You know what? Maybe.
Now I'll let you know details. Should be good. Session leady, yeah.
Look,
Come on, mate.
I was planning a meeting up with Sukai that day, so maybe
Oh yeah, come and see me, boys.
I can drag him along.
All right, I've got the title for this
Title?
episode.
Give it to me. By the way,
What do-
episode 40, guys.
Is
Oh
it?
shit!
Yeah, I was
Hell yeah!
supposed to
Oh,
remind
That's sick.
remind-
It's almost a year's worth of episodes.
I'm only tracking episode 39, but I'm
no,
probably wrong.
we created our Twitter last week.
Did we?
Yeah,
So
a
we've
year
had a
from last-
1-year birthday already. Fuck, we
Yeah.
should.
Twitter at least. I think our first episode was on like New Year's week before New Year's Eve.
I
should
think
do
we
something.
acknowledge it when we get to that point in the year, but I think we celebrate when we hit 50 episodes.
Yeah, sounds good.
Episode title: What do Microsoft, Sony, and Nintendo have in common? Question mark. Eh?
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Hey.
Where do you guys want to go tonight, boys?
I've got a couple options that I've already vetted if they're still going.
Yeah, go. Okay.
We haven't done Raikou in a while, and I've got a new person playing Pokemon who's a local that's doing lots of stuff in the local scene.
Let's do the new person. That
New
sounds
person?
great.
This is Amiko.
Episode 69.
Damn, Jim,
was that?
60 freaking 9. Doctor
Huge.
disrespected. I'm
there
glad
it is.
someone's carrying the Kazi flag here.
Someone's fucking.
I'll tell you about who we're rating in a minute.
Okay.
Do we have anything else? I'm still writing the title. What does
Sony
Sony and Nintendo have?
You guys are legends. Thanks for hanging out. Hope you guys been good. Bloody caging runt. Thompson streaming. Fuck yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Go watch and play some high quality. I'm actually fucking knackered right now, boys. I don't know why. I woke up at like 6 a.m. this morning.
Well, I'm ready to go whenever you guys are.
Let's do
Yeah,
it.
go for it.
Do you want to call
Send it.
All right, this is my friend Amiko. She was part of the Pixel stuff when I was doing the Pixel stuff, and is really getting involved with like local community stuff in Perth. And hopefully, I won't spoil anything, but yeah, hopefully, go show us some love.
Moosey, love your work, mate. Catch up after Chrissy, buddy.
Yeah, appreciate you, Moosey, you gorgeous thing.
Old Capo's back at fucking work. Look out.
Yep, fucking back in there.
Back in there.
It is kind of nice having like a bit of structure to my day.
Yeah, I bet, dude. I fucking bet.
All right, fellas, let's call it. I'm
Yep.
gonna move us to our out scene, and we'll see everyone next week, next Monday night.
Bye, guys.
Bye bye.
See you guys. Love
See
you.
you.